Okie dokes. All right. Thank you very much for your attendance to our Storm and Flood Recovery Industry Recovery Program. My name is Sharon O'Kane. I am the project officer for our Storm and Flood Industry Program. Today I'm presenting the Knowing and Growing, Integrating Food and Fibre in the Classroom. We have some wonderful guests with us, which I'll introduce in just a moment. And we are on here for about an hour. There'll be time for questions, and any questions at the end we can go through. We will try and keep to our times, but I do want to remind everyone it is on being recorded. So if you'd like to have your videos off, that would be great for privacy reasons, but you're more than welcome to have them on as well. Okay, so today I am on the Central Coast. I work from home and I live on Darkinjung country. And for everyone here with the presentation, I'd like to acknowledge the countries that you are also on. PIFA acknowledges the traditional owners of the country throughout Australia and recognises the continuing connections to lands, waters and communities. We pay our respects to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and to our elders past and present. So welcome everybody. Today in our Knowing and Growing program, a quick overview. So I'll be presenting, I'll go through some housekeeping later on, but we have the wonderful Duncan Kendall from Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales, and we also have Meg Stunford from New South Wales Department of Primary Industries. So what I would like to say is welcome again, everybody. We will be keeping to our timings so that everybody can get the opportunity to listen and learn, but also have some time for some feedback. There will be opportunities to answer or for us to answer any questions, but I also have put in a new page with the QR and Q&A. So during those times, you can also QR code the pages that we've just been through on mine. And at the end, if we have any more questions to go through, we will go through that. If I don't have the answers, I'll definitely find out them by the end of it or after the presentation. So Duncan will be talking about cultivating careers in agriculture, and Meg will be talking about the soils in the curriculum. So today's focus really is about soils and how amazing soils is. What I'm talking about today in my presentation is healthy soils, and the wonderful team at PIFA has put through this amazing resource. When I first saw it, I really did say, wow. So I'm looking forward to presenting it on behalf of PIFA. And going on with PIFA, our PIFA's vision and mission is we value Australian food and fibre production, and we like to embed this into our national psyche. So what I would like to see personally is that everyone in Australia, the students, teachers, families, all understand about food and fibre and how important that is. And with our mission, we'd like to engage with as many Australian schools and communities throughout the education of food and fibre and the production and the careers. So moving forward, PIFA has many programs. As you can see up on the screen there, we have our Prime Zone. We also have our Prime Zone Academy, Farmer Time, Career Harvest, and our Storm and Flood Industry Recovery programs. Now, later on throughout the presentation, we'll have an opportunity to have a look at some of those pages, but all of the links will be on this presentation. Just to distinguish between PIFA and the Storm and Flood program, the program that I am working with is the Storm and Flood Industry Recovery Program. Now, this program is new. It's a funded program by the New South Wales government. And what we are doing is our focus is on year 7 to year 12. So we don't actually do the primary curriculum for this particular program. However, all of our resources are here on the page. So our page is slightly different, but it is attached to the PIFA page and website. So that's how we are slightly different, but we are funded and we work with year 7s to year 12s. So moving ahead, what I'm going to do is pass it over to our wonderful presenter, Duncan, and I'll let him share his screen and I will come back to you after Duncan presents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Can Sharon, you can hear me? Just making sure.
Yes, I can hear you, Duncan.
Beautiful, beautiful. Just wanted to make sure before I started. And thank you for everyone for joining in online after obviously a full day of teaching. As I was introduced, I'm the head of education here at the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales. We do supply curriculum nationally, but of course, being New South Wales centric, a lot of our programs and schools that we help and develop are New South Wales centric. However, it'll still relate to people from Queensland and all across Australia. So, main thing I'm going to present on this afternoon is the development of careers and careers within agriculture. Now, schools rate extremely highly in the influence that we have on children and on future employees within agriculture. We're actually second behind, and I'll go through some of the research of the biggest influencer, which is parents and family around their community. But we as educators still have a critical role in influencing and increasing the much needed feedback that we need to have a prosperous agricultural career. So underpinning the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales, which has existed for 201 years. I'm only merely a custodian of this role throughout a very long history. But the main thing is celebrating agricultural excellence and innovation. So the first we received, thankfully, off the federal government, which concludes at the end of this year, a considerable amount of money through a grant, which was to increase agricultural education, to raise awareness, but also long-term to really counter the low numbers that we actually have going into the workforce, but also even selecting to study agriculture as well. I'm actually a father of a teenager, and for those other parents out there, I'm sure that most teenagers wanting to be normal is something that we know quite well. But the main thing is that agriculture isn't deemed as normal. And as I said before, 35% of secondary students rate family home as their main source of agricultural encouragement and information. Second only to you, which is the school and the teachers. So this is really outlining the critical role that, yes, schools, but then families play in increasing the careers. So what are the career opportunities in the agricultural sector? Now, this is an interesting graph, and I'm not going to go through them too much because this will be available a lot later. But as you can see, there's been a 52% increase in 2021. But when we actually then delve a little bit further into the amount of students that are actually selecting to study agriculture, it's quite concerning. So the first statistic actually relates to all of us, that we've actually experienced a drop of 40% of students completing in HSC levels. Now, for New South Wales, we're in a real critical situation because we only account for 32% of the population, but we actually account for 58% of final year ag graduates. So we're really concentrating on New South Wales, on developing obviously an awareness, but also an acceptability. Now, one statistic there as well is that 90% of Australians live in urban areas. So having a lack of background and family awareness or knowledge of agriculture even poses the bigger risk to our agricultural sector for future employment. Because remember, it's that home environment that is the biggest contributor towards people selecting agriculture for studies or for careers. Once again, here are some statistics, but when we actually see the amount of graduates, even less than 1,000, the statistic that is around at the moment is that for anyone that's studying agriculture, both in TAFE or university, there's 6 jobs waiting for them, to the point where these institutions are having issues of graduates not finishing their degrees because they're poached by companies before they can even complete their degrees as well. Also, there's been a significant increase in jobs off farm as well. So we're looking at agribusiness, ag technology, in regards to coding and drone management and so on. So there's a massive shift in regards to the employment where they are. We still have our traditional roles on farm and in regional areas, but also there's been a spike in city areas as well. Now, the main spike that we can see there is with that agribusiness and ag tech is obviously production management and merchandising. So if there's a student in any of your classes, be it maths or science or anything else, these are areas that we can always point them towards in regards to development of their careers, but also in regards to where a lot of these job opportunities are for those students that we have. So how are we in our role here, and how can you help in regards to guiding students to awareness? Now, this is one just for New South Wales schools. We only launched it last year, but do watch our website in the next 2 weeks. We're looking for applications for our RAS Ag Innovation in Schools Award, which will be presented at the Easter Show. The first one actually went to New South Wales' smallest regional school, which was Hermidale, which actually used an unused paddock next door and actually harvested a crop which actually generated $50,000, which has now helped and allowed for their development and excursion program. So if you're a New South Wales school that's growing your agricultural classes or numbers or showing some innovation, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us as well. Another thing that we've been doing here, but I know in Queensland and in Perth, they're actually visited our complex and are going to be introducing these farm days for schools as well, which is fantastic. What Farm Days is we set up a farm-like experience with a hands-on agricultural experience. So here are some images that's great, but these are the 2 I want to concentrate on. One here, we've got MLA, and this was actually a regional school, a metropolitan school, where this young student, only in year 5, obviously stated that just from that one day of experience of being able to tell the age of a ewe through the teeth and so on, that he actually wanted to go into beef farming as well. But it's not always the traditional jobs as well. We actually had XAG with their spraying and seeding drone. And there's a lot of interest in that ag tech and coding for our students. So if this is the narrative we can just keep on going, it's definitely going to have a significant impact. Now, Ag in a Box is another program that through federal government money we're able to develop, and it's linked to curriculum both in New South Wales, but also the Australian curriculum as well. And these are hands-on boxes full of hands-on resources that will actually engage the students, especially those students that haven't been, exposed to agriculture before, where they can grow mushrooms, they can test the soil of pH when we're looking at horticulture, there's seed samples, but it's really a hands-on activity of what we're going to do. So looking at some of the figures, just with a program where we write the programs for you tired teachers, because our mantra is to give you your weekends back, you can see that increase that's come through word of mouth, but also from teachers actually realising that by teaching agriculture, you get a lot of student engagement. And some of the positive numbers there is they're conservative numbers, over 2 years, we've reached about 77 1,000 students that probably traditionally wouldn't have been exposed to agriculture. So please get in contact with us for those resources. They're free, and we're just exposing as many students as we can for agriculture. Now, talking about careers, we also run AgVision here at the Sydney Showground, which is a career expo. It's not an expo where people hand out pamphlets and they have a quick chat. We have that session in the morning, which is very popular. But what we do is we actually have structured sessions which they then allocate for. So that might be in farming, it might be in horticultural scientific research. And they're able to go through and really have a confirmation of what careers they might choose. Now, this year we mixed it up a little bit. We introduced some different careers, and some of the traditionalists kind of, they question some of our decisions, like, for example, having Silverdale and thoroughbreds coming in. But our mantra is, as long as they're being exposed in animal nutrition and care, those skills can be transferred into agriculture as well. We also had Primo, where they're actually able to discover jobs that go from the abattoir, from the farm, to marketing and sales, because they are still all part of agriculture moving forward. As you can see, this is only just one page of our booklet. We had over 50 careers on offer, but there's lots of opportunities. So if we could engage in these kind of activities, they just allow students to be exposed to all the opportunities that are there for them. And once again, it's changing that perception. This is a great, and once again, on behalf of CSU, I can send it through. This is a great career map that they have from Charles Sturt University. It's not only linked to their courses, just all the different career opportunities that they have as well. So, especially for our senior students, what's something or the conversation we can have to encourage them to look at a career? Work placement. We work closely with Spinifex and Anna Brown. I'm actually taking my teenage son for a rites of passage to work on Windy Station for a week to teach him what hard work really is. But that's a great experience for
Duncan, we've just dropped out there. I'll just double check with everyone else. It's just frozen. I'm not sure. Can we just get a show of hands?
It's frozen. I can hear. Yes.
Yeah. So Duncan's frozen.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So he's probably going to fix that. What I might do is just have a look. I'll just go to the raised hand. Mahini, would you like to take the floor?
I think it might have been the show of hands.
Oh, sorry, show of hands, my fault. Yep. Okay, wonderful. What I will do, we'll move on, and we'll just get Duncan to see if he can fix that. But also another thing, Duncan does need to leave around 4:30 anyway. If he jumps back on, I'll jump back to him, but I'll keep going on with the presentation. This is the beauty of live, and we've got it in recording, but I'm sure Duncan will have everything available for everyone afterwards anyway. So continuing on, we've got our PIFA resource, the Healthy Living Soils, Growing Better Food and Fibre. Now, this website is amazing. It's going to share this with you guys. It's linked through the PIFA website, and it's healthylivingsoils.com.au. But this website is so easy to use. Everything's clickable. The links are easy. You've got the teachers page, student pages. It also links to Prime Zone, which is another part of our PIFA pages. But going back to our teachers, what I'll be talking to you about today is just 2 of these lessons. And I'll be talking about lessons number 7, First Nations Australian Soils and Soil, and life under the soil. So that's what I'll be talking about in the presentation today.
Hi, Sharon.
Oh, hello, Duncan. I'm going to leave it. I'll get back to you. Do you want to continue on with your presentation?
Oh, thank you. I was nearly finished as well, but for some reason it kicked me off the system, so I'm back though.
All right. Did you want to throw the presentation back up on the screen, or do you just
thank
go
you.
ahead? No problem.
Sorry about that. Here we go. Okay, so sorry about that interruption. Obviously, shows it. But yeah, these are some great people. Once again, my contact details are on here afterwards. Anything that interests you or you want further information, don't hesitate to contact me. At the moment, the NFF Ag Career Start is a fantastic program. We're actually looking to extend some of those top performers after that within a RAS program, but more information to come. But that is a fantastic program where students are actually subsidised to get further training, but they actually get experience on farm as well, which is an amazing experience. Now, if your students are a little bit interested, or you might have that quirky one that just wants to do something a little bit different, is interested in agriculture, but let's say wants to stay in the city or work a little bit more remotely, agribusiness is an area that's growing remarkably. So Rabo has a fantastic program for graduates. We had them help present at AgVision, and they're extremely impressive. Another great program is the Commonwealth Bank and their agribusiness division as well. So I've got contacts there where students can get in contact with them and talk about applying for some of these graduate programs as well. Also, we're all very well aware that the VET areas and certificate in ag are second to none. They are fantastic. There's something that can be done whilst working as well. And they're actually revising what that curriculum is at the moment. We're helping them with that, but it's something that can help as well. A lot of our undergraduate certificates for universities are available for those students who don't want to commit to a full bachelor. But also with some of the other universities like Sydney Uni are really revamping and rebuilding their programs. So once again, if you get in contact with them, they're more than happy to help guide your students about what subject choice they can have or what are some of the degrees that they have. Same goes for UNE or the University of New England. And obviously, if you're interstate, they run a remarkable distant education degrees for agriculture. All right, so there are my contact details. You can find me on LinkedIn, but sorry for the interruption, but I suppose if there's any questions, I can definitely fill those now.
Okay, so if anyone's got any questions for Duncan, raise your hand, or if you can put it into the chat box. Thank you.
Okay, Meg, I got a question from you. Or a hands up.
I was actually applauding you, Duncan.
Oh,
a round of applause. Thank you very much. It was a fabulous presentation.
Thanks.
So the show of hands earlier that were from Mohini and Belinda, were they just for earlier, or would you like a question answered?
Just for earlier.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just from earlier, sorry.
That's okay, no problem, no worries. All right, so I'm going to continue on. Duncan, that was amazing, and it really is. Those statistics really are alarming for how many students leaving the agricultural industry and how many jobs are available. And I guess this is why we do this for our listeners and the teachers out there today, is because what you're doing in the classroom is so important, because some schools and teachers don't know this, students don't know this, and with your help to be able to share that knowledge, that's why we feel really privileged to be able to share that with you, because you guys are at the forefront to be able to pass this on not only to the students, but like Duncan said, onto the families and their home environments, because that's where it really does matter.
It certainly does. And thank you for having me, Cheryl. I've got another appointment, so I do apologise. And if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to email or call me I will help you, especially when it comes to agricultural education. So thank you.
Thank you, Duncan.
Say hello to bye.
Okie dokie. So we're back on to PIFA. So I'm going to keep this video short. It is only a 4-minute video, but I will only use a couple of minutes of it. But the thing that I found most interesting about this was once you watch the whole video, it really does depict what happened in the past to what became the present, but more importantly, what we can do in the future, because we can't change the past. And I'm just going to let this play for you. Just to the side of here is also one of the booklets for the student work booklets as one of the activities to go with this. But I'll play the video now for you to watch.
The native women were spread out over the plain as far as the eye could see, collecting murnong, or in this language, pannin, a privilege they would not be permitted except under my protection. I inspected their bags and baskets on return, and each had a load as much as she could carry.
Yeah, murnong is just a yam. We call it a yam, some people call it a daisy, but it really is itself. It's just a root vegetable, which Aboriginal people knew to be very good for them. And it grew well, they could manage it, it was abundant, and so it became one of the staple foods. Most of them have got, say, 3 or 4 tubers on them. Sometimes there's only 3. But the idea is that you take 1 or 2 of the tubers and leave the others so that the plant doesn't die. And there's a way of harvesting it where you can ensure that you haven't damaged the plant. That tuber is then eaten fresh, and they're beautiful cooked in food. They're very, very sweet. Or it's dried, and when it's dried, it can be stored for some time and still be used in cooking and still be a lovely food to eat. So the old people, I don't know how long they were able to eat murnong for every year, but we suspect it was probably around 9 months of a year, and then they'd probably change to another kind of tuber. From murnong, they might go to bulbine lily, they might go back to orchid, depending on the season. And I'm really looking forward to finding out that system of how the old people used to live, because it'll tell us a lot about our own country. Sir Thomas Mitchell rode through Victoria near the Grampians, or what we would call Garryword, and there he saw yams, or murnong, and they grew to the horizon because Aboriginal people were cultivating them, and they were growing on the best soil in Australia. Incredibly rich volcanic soil, and yet there were very few big trees there because Aboriginal people had been weeding that garden for tens of thousands of years. An incredible application of labour and ingenuity, and the sheep, the British sheep, ate it to the ground. They were prospering. People got rich on the back of all those sheep, but it destroyed our agriculture.
Okay, so that finishes off with a really, really nice ending, but I will leave that to you because it's all in the resources. But the story there is it did ruin Australia's agriculture, and our land. And what we're talking about today is how important soil is for both agriculture and for our past with our Indigenous agriculture, like the real first agriculture that was looking after our land before white settlement and agriculture. So that's one of the activities that that students get to watch and work through. So here we've got the teacher and student guides, and as again I said, this is lesson number 7. Over here is one of our pages. I'm not sure, hopefully you can see that okay. It's a 35 page document. It's been put together for the teachers, and this has all the links. It has everything that you could possibly want when planning your programs. We have the guides here. It's linked to the ACARA curriculum so that it is all Australia-wide. Further down, we have all the contents of everything that you need, including the student worksheets, if a teacher wants to print this out as a whole for the teacher, and then they also have it for the students. But there are also separate student working sheets. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit, and you can see here in the resources and the equipment, what we have here and what our staff have done. They've really taken into consideration what it's like for teachers to be in the classroom, how they've prepared everything, and it's made it very, very clear as to how to present it, what the students need at the time for those lessons. All the links are clickable. As you can see, one of the videos that we had, or every resource has not been unturned. They've gone to so much care to make sure that this resource really gives you everything you need. So I'm going to just scroll through this just a little bit quicker so that we can move on to the next one. You've got your activities and the background, but here's an example of the lesson guide, activity 7.1. We've got the questions, you have the links to everything that you need. And then it will go to activity 7.2. So I'm not going to go through the entire document, as I will start to, I'll go to near the end, which is my favorite. And when I was a teacher, it was always my favorite. We also include the answers to your activities. And we're fairly clear on the answers that is specific to that lesson. So if there is an answer with multiple answers that students, it would come up with, you know, multiple answers. But for this one in particular, for that Murnong, it has it step by step and the answers are there for you. I'm going to move on to what one of the activity sheets looks like for the students. So this is a worksheet for 7.2, and this is one of the student worksheets, fire and water, healing, country and people. And you can see in the document how well it is delivered, how well it's mapped out. It says you're in the First Nations Australian soil. So students can really do this activity independently. It depends on what your class structures are. One class, you might be able to have all the students working independently. Another time you might have to work all together. So our activities do lend itself for a lot of flexibility and for you to use what works in your classroom. So going just down to the next page, we have filling in the missing words, and then also something for the students to be able to answer to. And this would be one of the answers where it really is up to the teacher then to take on board what that student has learned, because every answer is going to be different. I'm going to move on to Life Under the Soil and our activity guides here. All of these links that I've showed you today are clickable. In the PDF that I'll be able to send you, you'll be able to go straight to these as examples. However, when you click on the students tab, you will go straight to the student tab. It's just loading for me now. Students can navigate this themselves, and this is what the beauty of it is. You would ask your students to go to Life Under the Soil. They click on Life Under the Soil, and this is what the page they will see when they come up to it. It will give them the overview. The teacher guide to the left is what the teachers will have. And this is what I love about these activities. It really does clearly show you and the students what needs to be done. So we go to learn, and we've got the activities, and the students go through the activities and the links. Then they get to view, so they know that they're viewing something, and then they get to do. So there has been a lot of thought and process going into this, and the beauty of it, it's all very different. All the activities are very different, so it's not repetitive. and which keeps the students engaged during the lesson. So, for example, if one of the students were to come on to lesson 4, Life Under the Soil, and they were doing activity 4.2, disrupting the food web, clicking on that, and it comes up with this activity page. And it's really easy to follow for students. They can also click on, which I've just done now, clicked on the link, which has gone to the actual website. So obviously, because it is not one of our websites, they'll get some ads, but here is the link for those students to be able to finish and do that activity. Okay, so soon I'm going to pass on to Meg. But before we do, I wanted to go back to Life Under the Soil and share this activity here, organisms found in soil. So I have here my lovely little friends, the worms from my worm farm. The greatest thing about this, if you do have a worm farm or compost in your school grounds, it's really great for something for students to be able to use this, have hands-on, but also using the worksheets that we have. Not only can they do things with hands-on and take photos of what they find, but in a handful here, there are millions and millions of microorganisms here for students to look into and also be able to follow the worksheet available. Now that my hands are lovely and dirty and I've got myself a little worm friend, I'm actually going to finish off the presentation for Piper here and pass on to Meg with our soils. And thank you.
I love it. I love it. That's absolutely brilliant, Sharon. I love that you actually brought in some worms as well. That's awesome.
I actually had some lizards that jumped in, but I was lucky enough to be able to get them out before I took the container
Indoors.
Love it. Thanks, Meg.
Everywhere. Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much, Sharon. I think we'd all agree that just the caliber of resources that PIFA is putting out and making available for your teachers is just absolutely brilliant. So thank you, and to the RAS as well. So thank you, Sharon, and thank you to Duncan, who's actually not with us. So I'm going to duck in now. So I'm, for anyone that I don't know, Meg Dunford from the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries, and I'm in a schools program. Just bear with me while I'm sharing. How's that? Can everyone see that screen?
Fantastic. I can see it.
Thank you very much, Sharon. So, so I'm going to talk to you about soils through the curriculum. So just to start out with, if you haven't heard about us, we're the New South Wales DPI Schools program. So we're made up of 2.6 staff. So myself, I'm a secondary trained ag, science, primary industries teacher. So I concentrate on our secondary resources. We've got Joe Hathaway, who's based at Tocal in the Hunter Valley. Joe's a primary teacher, so obviously concentrates on that primary and sort of environmental education sort of side of things. And then we've got our fearless leader, Michelle Fifield, who's actually based here in Orange with me and is a maths science teacher. So we're all teachers. We understand just how much is on your plates and how important it is for us to try and assist you in getting that great messaging out of primary industries production, how important it is for students and, you know, all of us really. So our programs, we've got sort of our main priorities is the development of teacher professional development and training such as this. We also have courses, short courses through Tocal, which have NESA accreditation. I'll show you the link on our website to find, and we've also got a lot of, a growing list of online professional development, and I'll show you where to find that. We also develop syllabus mapped sort of grab and go resources from years K to 12. A lot of our resources have, it will be sort of a unit of work. So some of them are, it might be a worksheet here or there to sort of fill a subject area, but a lot of them are full units that you could use, say, for a term or what have you, with answer guides and everything mapped. We also do student events all around the state, especially based at showing off our research and different sites in the Department of Primary Industries, and careers promotion, which I'll show you a little bit of soon. So I'm actually going to jump this a little bit because I think I've worked it all out just from our little chat earlier on. So we're going to be talking about soils today. So all our resources, if you're like me and like to sort of follow on as you're listening to a presentation, please do use that QR code, which will duck you to our schools program page. So this is a list of all our resources. As you can see, we've got everything from sort of K to year 12 in that ag, science, geography, but especially with that ag and primary industries focus. So our soils resources, the main standout ones we've got Investigate, years 5 and 6. So Investigate soils, it can also be used for lower secondary, depending on your learners. So we've also got Ag Patch Growing Literacy for years sort of K to 8. And Industry Insights, it's a poster series. There's a title there called Plant Structure and Function, which I'll show you in a bit. It's made for year 9 and 12, but there will be a document that sort of matches for both, that has a big soils focus. Also, just on Ag Patch, we also do have an online Ag Patch professional development with NESA accredited hours. We've also then got the Take Our Virtual Farm, which has secondary resources sort of based around the farm case study, and then careers in primary industry. So they are the main ones I'm going to talk you through today. So Investigate soils, just to start off with. Now, I do realise that we don't have many primary teachers joining us, but I want you to think that with these primary resources, I'm going to show you how you could match them up to either lower secondary or use them for something else. So, for example, these are the images used a lot throughout Investigate Soils. They're all downloadable on our Investigate Soils website. And as you can see, great for sort of even sort of lower secondary or senior secondary, making little, I can remember when I was teaching, I used to get your 10, 11, 12 kids to make little flashcards to help them with their exam revision. These could be great little ideas to make into flashcards. And talking about some of our different practical activities, texture triangles, different components of the soils. So this is where you find, so Investigate Soils. It has a teaching guide. There's a student learning journal, so like the student workbook, and then a learning activities. And here's just a quick look. I'll quickly fly you through this one in the soils, Investigate Soils workbook. So this is the student workbook, teach handbook and learning sequence, just for you to have a look through how it's been set out. So obviously syllabus mapped. It's got the sort of background information for the teacher, which will then be used. Here's our different icons that will come up throughout the document. Different content by security, learning sequences, and then we're actually looking at different profiles. Now the profiles actually match to our Take Our Virtual Farm, which is another resource, which you'll see when I sort of talk about the soils at Take Our. For the farm case study, we're talking about different. So as you can see, it's nice content that's matched to sort of that primary sort of lower secondary sort of level. Now, this is the teacher background booklet. Just be aware that obviously we've got our different icons telling you what to actually, this is learning, this is practice, this is an activity for the students, and it matches that student journal. So I'll duck back out of this one into our presentation again. So that was Investigate Soils. Okay, so then this is the next two that I was mentioned that they've got some matching documents between them. So Ag Patch Growing Literacy, it does go from kindy to stage 4, so year 7, 8 science. And this is the Growing Literacy book. It has some content similar to Investigate Soils, but also brings in a lot of the plant. Oh, sorry about that. A lot of the plant outcomes, I guess, in that science syllabus, as well as our soils. So we've got our soils. We're talking about colours, structure. Doing tests like pH for the chemistry, soil texture. Texture triangles, stability, so talking about sodic and dispersing soils, depending on their sort of salt levels. The living part of soils, so animals, organic matter. And then it goes into water cycles, etc., etc. Some photosynthesis and transpiration. So that one's that growing literacy for stage 4, year 7, 8. Now our plant structure and function. So this document here actually goes with both of these resources. And this one's got this is a really, really, I really enjoyed putting this document together. It's for that sort of early experimental design. So we've noticed, and so from teaching as well, students do pretty much from year 7 to year 12 struggle with the basics of sort of experimental design. So this little document I put together to assist students learn that sort of procedure right from the get-go. So we're talking about our different variables and controls, randomization, replication, standardization, and the need for control. This is a great little activity that they actually go onto this online tomato activity that they've got. It's a little simulation, I guess, that we've got different tomato plants and they can sort of change variables to see what the result will be on the tomato growth. And it shows it's all animated. It's really cute, really, really great way for kids to sort of understand those fundamentals of experimental design. And all these activities are based on them doing that simulated activity. Now, the plant growth and germination trials, here's for this, there's just a list of suggested growth trials that students could do with their plants. Obviously, there will be effects of microbial activity on soil health. And I'll just flick through to it. The first one's the effect of salt on germination. But the soils one, there's answer guide. The soils one is cotton strip comparative test for soil microbial activity. So gives students a background, gives teachers, it sets the prac right up, exactly modelling how we would like students to, get into the habit of setting their pracs up. So aim, hypothesis, all the different titles, method, so step-by-step method. It even gives sort of an image of how they could set up their layout if they're following this prac. And so obviously with this one they're selecting different soils from, a range of places around the school or, backyard or wherever you're conducting the prac with the students. And then through replication, it shows that they're either using calico strips, nylon strips, or grass clippings. Obviously the organic matter are these two, and this would be the control. So getting them to really sort of push their understanding and really develop their understanding of how to set up experiments properly. Tables, how to, it's even hints of how to do the graph, and then there's some great little scaffolds at the end that kids can use as a checklist for when they're setting up their own pracs by themselves. Okay, back into here. So that was Ag Patch and plant structure and function. The next ones with soils is we've got a whole booklet on soils based for stage 6 for the farm case study. So for prelim ag, and it also covers HSC ag soils outcomes. So similar sort of thing. It has an answer guide also on the web page, gives all the terminology. It uses the Tokau property as a case study, I guess, for learning about soils. We do, deep diving into different soils around Tokau. We've got different actual soil horizons for the students to look at, and these actually are at Tokau. I'll show you my favourite one, was the windmill paddock. I love this soil profile here. So you can actually follow all the links, jump into them and find out more about the Take Our Virtual Farm. So it gives more information of how they're managed, how to, the description of the profile in more detail, and how these soils are actually used in the history of them at Take Our. So, and I jump back into that. So, and that's the soils booklet. It also gives, so for stage 6 ag in your prelim and HSC, there are some soils pracs which are mandatory. Here's a great document which is linked in the Farm Case Study Soils booklet, which gives you a list of your sort of field diagnostics and how to carry them out for students. So the methodology, so soil texture, there'll be pH and salinity, testing for sedicity, so that's a dispersal prac and how that works. And that's that one. I'm going for time. Okay, so now to our careers. So the careers resources, we've been working extensively on sort of tripling our resources this year. So in our career space, we've been using, we've been interviewing lots of different of our DPI staff all around the state to just show the breadth of, challenge those concepts of what is a career in agriculture and what does it look like. So for each of these flyers, we've also got, they're linked to, you can sort of see down here at the bottom of Stephen and Sarah's with the QR code, they're linked to video interviews and their little career shorts on our YouTube channel. So you can, give the kids the flyer in the classroom or get them to look at that, and then they can actually follow through and watch a career short to, see a little bit more of what does a soils chemist do, or, what does a quantitative geneticist do, and all that sort of thing. So our careers resources are building, we're continually building those. So keep an eye on that page to see everything that's still coming. Now from the DPI, so this isn't just the DPI schools program. Obviously the DPI has a extensive soils group, I guess. So, and just be aware of this is a site, find this site. So there's the link to it to get all the dirt. I do like a naughty pun on current and emerging research practices and content. So some of the things to keep especially aware of is we've got our soil management guides. There's great content there for you to brush up on your learning about soils and, anything that's current and emerging. Soil testing analysis, we've got our diagnostic and analytics services up at Aroomba. So if you wanted to actually get some soils from your school or home or wherever actually tested, that you can work through with your students to actually see what a industry analysis will come back with. We've also got our webinars and newsletters, so please sign up for free with those if you want to sort of increase your learning or just stay current with what's happening in that soils research space. Research and development, so there's the key R&D themes for the soils team. Obviously the team up the top, which I haven't got an arrow to, that's actually lists some of our researchers around the place. And then AIRG, I should say, it's just a regulatory capacity of the New South Wales DPI. So it's making sure that people who are actually selling seed have it is inoculated appropriately for the rhizobium bacteria. Okay, so pretty much you can find all our resources and anything sort of in that soil space that I've shown you and more at www.dpi.nsw.gov.au. So where to find our resources? Obviously, just search up the top DPI NSW. It'll get to our webpage, which looks a little bit similar to that, to find our content. It's at the drop down at the end, so education and training into school resources. And that's how you can find our content. So for any inquiries, please do email us at that. So schools.program@dpi.nsw.gov.au. Or you can just use that QR code and go straight to our webpage where you can sign up for a newsletter, for new resources, student events, and upcoming teacher PD. So that's about it. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present. Has anybody got any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
I've been teaching agriculture since 1987,
Fabulous.
and apart from a few young guns like Indy Burden, who I see is on today,
Yep.
I haven't seen a lot of development in terms of ag teaching programs, and I'm kind of concerned about that. Is it doesn't seem to be getting the push that it needs. If like clearly we have issues with agriculture and training and education, but I'm going to retire soon, and I don't see anyone coming through to replace me.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about that.
Yep. Yep. I couldn't agree more. DPI doesn't have the capacity to be sort of putting teachers through. I'm a little confused what you're sort of asking.
I'm not asking. I'm just saying that it's one
Commenting.
thing for us to say we've got all these big issues, but from a government perspective,
Yeah.
I don't think it's being seen as something that they're really working hard to, much like our, to be honest.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to take this smack.
Hang on.
So
Andrew,
you're just
cutting
cutting
in
out a
and out.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Gotcha.
No, that's all good. I'm just concerned that we're not going to have enough teachers to be presenting it as much as anything.
Couldn't agree more. I think that's so taking my DPI hat off and putting my New South Wales Ag Teachers Committee member hat on. That's something definitely our committee, and so I'm obviously speaking from that New South Wales point, and obviously Nay, if you wanted to call, contact the president, who's Carl Sherwin. Carl will be able to sort of support you. We're doing a lot of lobbying for that, trying to, it is a big issue. We definitely identify it, and I think it's just something that we're just going to have to keep pushing at. But I couldn't agree more. I think the biggest issue right now is obviously we've got a disconnected culture, sort of not connecting with where their food and fibre is. And as Duncan and Sharon and myself have pretty much already sort of agreed with and said today, is one of the biggest influences of students sort of considering or being educated about agriculture is the teacher. If we don't have teachers in classrooms, we're in big trouble. So I don't exactly know what to do with that, but I'd sort of suggest if everyone else is passionate about that, make sure you join your state or ag teacher authority and keep getting them to sort of be pushing that. Yeah.
Oh, I agree, and all credit and kudos to Barker College for driving it in the urban environment, which is such a difficult space.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And really to every ag teacher out there as well. Yeah, every ag teacher that's sort of pushing those career opportunities, sort of pushing the right messaging. You all do an amazing job.
Thank you, Andrew. Now, we are over time, but I'm more than happy to keep going if you would like to stay on. If you do need to hop off, thank you for joining us, but I'd strongly suggest you can stay on just for about another 10 minutes because I've got a couple more things to go through. But to add on to you, Andrew, I can see, with our resources, also with DPI's resources, how much time and effort goes into it to help teachers, because from a teaching point of view, I am a primary teacher, and so I can see how high school is a lot more challenging to get that across, particularly when the classrooms are specifically for ag. And I can see with the resources today, and they're all free, that everyone has put the thought into it. If the ag teacher isn't available, which we all know has been a problem, particularly since the pandemic, what we have put together is a resource that anyone can teach, and there is a strong thought process in that. we do strongly want more ag teachers. There's no doubt about that. We do want ag teachers to be teaching ag. However, we know this is not the case in classrooms, and it's incredibly stressful. So I can see all the wealth and understanding that's gone through with DPI's lessons and activities. The thought process is there as well, particularly with stage 6, because stage 6 is quite hard to find really good resources for. And, you know, stage 6 with the DPI resources there were outstanding as well. So again, thank you, Meg, for your presentation on your soils as well. I've got this QR and Q&A. So hopefully if you were listening to Andrew and the reply there, that you had the time to use your QR codes. You don't have to. It's just there as a next step. Again, it will be in the presentation after this. I just want to touch on, as we wrap up, if you're more than welcome, if you're more than happy to stay on just a little bit longer, a couple more things to tie in as I finish up. Now, this is a project that I've been working on. It's called Farmer Time Experts in the Field. And my first Farmer Time series here is a 3-episode series. The 3 episodes is Drones on Farms, Drones in Ag, and then the Drone Warrior. And these are all clickable links. My resource guide here is slightly different to what you've seen with other PIFA resources due to the nature of the video, but basically it's all curriculum linked to the New South Wales curriculum and also ACARA, and it really does drive off the back of the video resource itself. And there are 3 in concession that go together. There's a teacher guide, there's a student guide, and it also includes the answers as well, which is most important. This video, when you get the opportunity later on, when you'll get to see this, I know we're running short of time, but the videos in this particular episode with Chris Warrior, he really does talk about the connection between agricultural farming today, what's happened in the past, but also the traditional way that the lands were looked after. And again, as our Indigenous agriculturalists back, you know, thousands of years ago. And, you know, today we can make the change today. And at the end of this video, it also touches on the Indigenous side of things with agroforestry, regenerative farming, and how the 2 entities can work together to really enrich farming today. Moving forward, we do have our Career Harvest page on the website. If you click on one of these pathways, you'll be able to see just a snapshot of what's available. There are hundreds of opportunities and jobs here. Again, talking about soils today, we've got the soil scientists. So when you get a chance as well, click on the link for Career Harvest, and these are just a small handful of activities, sorry, not activities, jobs and careers that are out there today. Again, here are our PIFA and our storm and flood industry resources and programs. I do want to quickly touch up onto what's coming up tomorrow night. This is going to be really cool. It's Rachel's Farm, and Rachel is Rachel Ward, the actress on our Australian TVs, and she has a video or a movie that goes for about an hour and a half. It's tomorrow. You just click the links on Rachel's Farm. It will take you through to our page. If you go through our page with PIFA and then click on the subsequent links, you will come to the link to be able to log on and register for this tomorrow night. I've had a little sneak peek and it's brilliant. So I would suggest getting onto that as well for your own personal your time. I know it is a nighttime thing, but it would be absolutely worth its weight in gold. So that you can go through the links on our Prime Zone, Rachel's Farm, and you just follow the continual links there. Don't register right now, but just after the PD. And we have the ACER survey. I'll get back to that in just a moment because we can do that after we stop recording. A few more Q&As. I'll open it up to the field. If anyone wants to talk about or want to ask questions about the resources or take down the QRs for the other activities that we have or the other pages that we have, please do that now. Got a little bit of time. Has anyone got any questions they wanted to raise or bring up? I'll take that as you're just thinking about it. Here we just like to thank the Australian Government National Care Program, Soil Science Australia and Soils for Life for our PIFA programs in collaboration with Primary Industries Education Foundation Australia. Thank you for attending. I really do hope that you have got a lot out of our program, and also from Meg and Duncan, who also shared their resources and their knowledge. I would really love it if you had 5 minutes to use the QR code to answer the survey that we have for PIFA. This way we can, start to look at the feedback, analyze the feedback, and make better resources for our program that we're doing, and also pass on new knowledge to the rest of the team that we have at PIFA and the storm and flood. So if you'd like to, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn off my screen for this. If you do have to go, I understand, but again, this will be shared on our webpage. And thank you all for your attendance. And I hope that you all got something out of today, because I just think all the resources that we've seen today and that what I've seen through PIFA are just amazing. And I hope, and we all know that these resources, we want to help teachers, because like Andrew said, it's very, very hard leaving the industry when we don't know who's going to fit the shoes for that. But I'd like to think that our resources and our contribution, as well as DPI and as well as RAS, wanting to bring teachers into ag. Thank you.